In my last mod video, I promised that I would be showing you how to build the biggest possible map using mods in Project Zomboid, so that's what I'm here to do. This mega map, as we will call it, is probably 2 times the size of the original map. If you have all the mods activated, it adds 15 new locations to explore. The goal of this project is to make the biggest map possible without adding in anything that either doesn't fit the vibe of the rest of the vanilla map or just seems to be unnecessary and take up space. For that reason, out of the 15 map mods that we have included, we have 6 main ones and 9 that are optional. The main ones are the biggest maps that truly expand the world, while the optional ones mostly just build upon an existing area in the game or might change or replace some of the things on the vanilla map. So, let's get started by downloading all the mods that will create our map. In the description, I have linked a Steam Workshop collection that I put together in an effort to make this whole process a lot easier. If you plan on downloading all of them, including the optional ones, go ahead and just make sure you have them all downloaded. If you aren't sure, or you know that you're only going to pick some of the mods, I will quickly go through each one and provide a short description for them so you can make your decision. Beginning by introducing the maps that I consider to be the main ones which truly expand the game world, we first have Bedford Falls. This is one of the ones I covered in my last mod video, so I won't say much, but just know this one is a very large yet cozy town placed southeast of Muldrow and almost twice its size. Next, there's Chestown, which is a pretty small area that sits up near Riverside and features some really nice apartment buildings. It's overall a very aesthetically pleasing place and is a great addition. Then there is Eerie country, situated all the way south past March Ridge. This one is absolutely massive and probably makes for almost half of the area in this entire expansion. There is already so much to explore here, but it is still a work in progress, so it's going to have even more eventually. After that, we have Lake Ivy Township, a bit to the east of Muldrow. It is a nice medium-sized town around the size of Rosewood or Riverside. There's a lot of really nice looking houses, and as the name suggests, lots of lakes. Continuing on, we have Raven Creek in the southwest, which is another one of the maps I spoke about in my last mod video. This one obviously speaks for itself, but everyone knows that it is one of the biggest and most in-depth map additions out there, with all different types of areas to see within. Finally, we have Winchester. This one was actually suggested by one of you guys. After seeing your comment, I checked out the mod and thought it would make a great addition to the Mega Map project. It is all the way to the northeast and it's another pretty large town. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff in this one. The coolest thing I think though is in the town center, which is basically a big outdoor mall. Now that we've listed all the main ones, there are some technical mods that you need which go along with them. The first one is Fort Knox linked to Eerie country, which adds a special version of the town of Fort Knox that has a road connecting it to the east side of the Eerie country map. The town itself is rather large and of course features the United States Gold Bullion Depository. Next, we have the road from Fort Knox to Bedford Falls mod, which takes the already connected Fort Knox and Eerie country and adds another road to the north part of Fort Knox that connects it to Bedford Falls. This is a really nice road to have as it provides a much easier alternate way to get down to Fort Knox. The last of the technical mods is called Road to Bedford. It completes the road running up north of Bedford Falls and connects it to the highway leading right up to westpoint, providing another very useful and time-saving way to get into Bedford Falls. Now, let's get into the mods that are optional. Starting off, we have Seaside. This is just a cool little compound all the way in the north of Louisville that is the perfect place to set yourself up for life in the zombie apocalypse. The second one is the Westpoint expansion, which is yet another mod from my last video. It basically does just what you would expect and expands the vanilla town of Westpoint with some awesome new buildings like this seriously giant hospital. The next one is the Rosewood expansion. This one is just like the Westpoint one and adds an interesting new area to Rosewood. It is a run-down area that clearly was a survivor camp at one point. Then we have Blackwood. This is a small town directly north of Rosewood that is meant to be a challenge for any player who decides to spawn here. It is run down because it's near the same area as the Rosewood expansion and is full of twists and turns, which just adds to the challenge. After that, there's Grapeseed, which is also very close to Rosewood, but it's to the west. It is just a small little town that has some interesting stores and things to see. Next is NewEkron, which completely replaces the vanilla Acron area up a bit further to the west of Muldrow with a much bigger and better version that has a ton more new stuff as well as some old stuff that has been improved upon. Then there is Pitstop, which is right before you enter Muldrow coming from the west. This is a super awesome addition that has a ton of custom buildings, as well as a hedge maze and a street set up for a drag race. Following that is Fort Redstone, which has a huge military base right next to the Vanilla Secret Facility on the east side of Raven Creek. And finally is Research Facility Kentucky, which is a complete redesign of that secret facility right next to Fort Redstone. It is a massive complex complete with residential buildings and labs. There is even an optional access road connecting it to Fort Redstone that you can activate in the mod menu when you install it. Now that we've gone over all those, there's just a few more mods that are necessary for all of this to work. The majority of these are tiles and textures. Most of the maps we are dealing with need all or some of these, so make sure you download each one. The ones to grab are Diederiks tiles, Dylan's tile pack, Oujinjins tile pack, and Throttlekitty's tiles. Besides texture mods, the other important ones you will need are the Ingamemaps main mod, the Ingamemaps westpoint expansion version if you use that map, the More Maps mod, and last but certainly not least, the Mod Manager mod. Now that you have downloaded all the mods you need, make sure they are all of course activated, and then let's briefly make sure that they are in the proper load order. The Mod Manager mod enables us to do this by clicking this button in the lower right corner of the menu. You will now see the order in which all of your mods will be loaded in. For some of the mods, it doesn't matter what order they are in, but there are some where it really does matter, especially the ones that add roads connecting two maps and the optional maps near Raven Creek. To play it safe, because I did need to do some of my own tweaking to get it working, just make sure that your load order lines up with mine. One last quick thing we need to do before we can play though is make sure that double-sized textures are enabled in your settings under the display tab. Once you've done all these things, everything should work perfectly. Now you should be able to enjoy an enormous map that will never run out of new places to visit and explore. This map would be perfect to last multiple playthroughs or definitely for a server of epic proportions. If you have any problems, please let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to help you out. Thank you all so much for your patience and for watching. I'm so glad to finally get this highly requested video out to you guys. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know as well because I am considering making a 2.0 version if it's possible.